Our time now is 8:52. Bridge Magazine has just released a new book on the Flint Water Crisis. It's called Poison on Tap: How Government Failed Flint and the Heroes Who Fought Back. Here to tell us about the book is David Zeman, the editor for the book and an editor of Bridge Magazine. Thank you, David, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, this is the first book to come out about the Flint Water Crisis. Why did Bridge Magazine decide to write a book? And Bridge Magazine, for those who don't know, is an online magazine, but this is a physical, tangible book.
Sure, but we're going to have an e-edition as well. Bridge is one of many media outlets that have really done a good and comprehensive job of covering the Flint water crisis, but there's been so many twists and turns in it, and so many interest groups trying to project their own agenda on what's happened, that our mission is really to follow the facts and the data and the evidence, and from that we've put together the most comprehensive timeline on the Flint water crisis, and we brought all that together into one book that tells the story of what's happened to date.
And lots of folks think, okay, I know what's going on with the Flint water crisis. The government did this, and this group did that, and a pediatrician did this, but there's much more to the Flint water crisis.
Well, there is. Everyone talks about the Flint water crisis in terms of government failure, and there is absolutely that in spades with the crisis. And we go into that. That's most of the book. Right. But there's also some wonderful stories of some heroes and some real democracy in action here, and winning out when everyone in the government is telling you one thing, and a lot of folks at different levels, both from inside and outside of Flint, were following what their eyes and their ears were telling and showing them. And so there's some great stories in here as well.
Can you give us an example of that? Because that sounds like the parts of the story that have really been overlooked. I mean, an average person, not a government researcher, not a pediatrician who just said, something, I'm going to stick with this because this isn't right.
Right, and they have been highlighted. The Flint pediatrician, Dr. Hannah Atisha, Mark Edwards from Virginia Tech, Miguel Del Toro from the EPA, all people who continued to look into it. But you also have someone like Leanne Walters, the mom who just kept digging and digging and digging. She turns into this sort of Erin Brockovich type of person. She just won't let go of it because the government is saying everything is cool and the water is great, and she's looking at her small son with rashes all over his body. And it's really about all the people of Flint as well. I mean, this is a poor, marginalized population in many ways, but without them coming to the city council meetings with their jugs of brown water, without the activists who just kept on staying in the ear of the government, none of this would have been uncovered for a while.
And this book is for sale. Some of the proceeds are being donated, or where did the proceeds of the book go?
Yeah, $1 from each from the sale of each book is going to go to the Flint Child Health and Development Fund. That's the Flint Pediatricians Fund that she started with the Community Foundation in Flint to really look after the health and welfare of thousands of young children who have been damaged. And they've gotten about $8 million so far, but they estimate they're going to need tens of millions of dollars more. And so this is one of several funds that we highlight in the book that are really terrific, and the people of Flint still need the help.
David Zeman of Bridge Magazine, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll have a final check of news, weather, and traffic. Stay with us.